Thank you, Darnell. Welcome back. Welcome back. Good afternoon. I am Brother Zachary Stevens-Walter. I am the chaplain for pastoral care here at the community church, and I welcome you on behalf of our ministry team, our staff, and all our lay leaders. It is good to be together, both in person here and online. Community church is a multiracial, multicultural, multi-generational congregation with a vision and commitment to build a world grounded in equity and inclusion. With me today is Darnell White, our musician in residence. Can we have a hand for Darnell? So glad you're back. As well as our soloist this afternoon, Jonathan Long. Community church is in transition. We have sold our church building and are in the process of finding another in this neighborhood. We are guests here at the Church of the Incarnation in the meantime, for which we are grateful, even if this beautiful space is not perfectly reflective of our theology. Children are always welcome during worship. Feel free to move around the space or to move back and forth between programming happening up in the loft with Jill or down here with us. The sound of babies crying or children fidgeting, really anyone fidgeting, is a beautiful part of being in community together. Masks are optional but encouraged. I will not be masked today. We ask that everyone be respectful of each other's decisions and need for personal space. Today's service is entitled Spirit of Adventure. Please rise in body or spirit. Let's sing together our opening hymn, number 182, Oh, the Beauty in a Life. You may be seated. Please join me in our call to worship. Gathered from the ends of our world, in person and online, connected through the miracle of technology, we bring our minds and bodies to Madison Avenue between 35th and 36th Street. Knowledgeable of what has come before us, hopeful for what is to come, we settle into our present moment. In this moment here, nothing is to be done, and doing nothing leaves nothing forgotten. we are together in body and spirit. Though we are of different histories and opinions, let us share now in one mind. May it be so. Amen. Please speak with me the words for our chalice lighting found in your bulletin. We light this candle, the flame of our heritage. May it ignite hope in our lives, in our community, and in the world. We share together now our unison affirmation. Please join me. Unto the Church Universal, which is the depository of all ancient wisdom and the school of all modern thought, which recognizes in all prophets a harmony, in all scriptures a unity, and through all dispensations a continuity, which abjures all that separates and divides and always magnifies humanity and peace, which seeks truth in freedom, justice in love, and individual discipline in social duty, and which shall make of all persons one beloved community. Unto this church and unto all its members, known and unknown throughout the world, we pledge the allegiance of our hands and hearts. Please join me in our land acknowledgement. We are gathered on the unceded land of the Lenape peoples. We acknowledge the Lenape community, their elders both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement demonstrates a commitment to beginning the process of working to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism. Now is our time to greet one another. You are invited to share a COVID-safe sign of peace and welcome. We will enter into a time of prayer after a brief silence. We will enter this moment of silence using our chime. Please let the sound envelop you. Our prayer this afternoon is responsive, and your response today is, hear our voice. Try that. Hear our voice. To all who are lonely and alone, hear our voice. To all who are without the basic needs of life, warmth, food, shelter, and love, hear our voice. For anyone at home and for anyone who has no home, hear our voice. To our elders filled with life to share, hear our voice. To our children overflowing with promise, hear our voice. To this community seeking and yearning, hear our voice. To our friends and neighbors listening and learning, hear our voice. To our city swollen with the bodies of new New Yorkers, hear our voice. To our nation sick from the toxins of fascism and division, hear our voice. To our world, broken by war and the ravages of climate change, hear our voice. To our leaders, heavy with the responsibilities of stewardship and prophecy, hear our voice. And to the forgotten, unseen, and unheard among us, hear our voice. We are here for you. Hear our voice. We are here to fix this broken world. Hear our voice. We are here to make a way where none yet exists. Hear our voice. We speak truth to power. Hear our voice. We speak truth to ourselves. Hear our voice. We speak truth to one another. Hear our voice. And to you, Spirit of life, hear our voice. To the breath of life that we share with everything that breathes, hear our voice. We give thanks and peace. Hear our voice. We give thanks and peace. Hear our voice. Amen. Please join me now as we sing together hymn number 194, Faith is a Forest.
United in dance, web of
Our reading this morning is called I Want to Be With People by Dana Worsnop. Often people say that they love coming to a place with so many like-minded people. I know just what they're getting at, and I know that they aren't getting it quite right. I don't want to be with a bunch of people who think just like me. I want to be in a beloved community where I don't have to think like everyone else to be loved, to be eligible for salvation. I want to be with people who value compassion, justice, love, and truth, though they have different thoughts and opinions about all sorts of things. I want to be with independent-minded people of good heart. I want to be with people who have many names and no name at all for God. I want to be with people who see me in my goodness and dignity, who also see my failings and foibles, and who still loves me. I want to be with people who feel their interconnection with all existence, who let it guide their footfalls upon the earth. I want to be with people who see life as a paradox and don't always rush to resolve it. I want to be with people who are willing to walk the tightrope that is life and who will hold my hand as I walk mine. I want to be with people who let church call them in a different way. I want to be with people who support, encourage, and even challenge each other to higher and more ethical living. I want to be with people who inspire one another to follow the call of the Spirit. I want to be with people who covenant to be honest, engaged, and kind, who strive to keep their promises and hold me to the promises I make. I want to be with people who give of themselves, who share their hearts and minds and gifts. I want to be with people who know that human community is often warm and generous, sometimes challenging, and almost always a grand adventure. In short, I want to be with people like you.
At the edge of the Atlantic, I can't bring myself to swim. I choked back the tears for 22 years, drowning in shadows of him. The waves etched out a pattern long after they're gone. The lines that they trace, they quickly erase, but something's still lingering on. Lost in the waves, I am lost in the waves. No one but me and the silent black sea. I am lost in the waves. A vision in the moonlight, a family on the beach, a boy on his own by the undertow throne, far Father's reach. He's caught up in a riptide. A man has to choose. There's a race to be won for the life of his son. But someone has to lose. Lost in the waves, I am lost in the waves. Salt water burns, the tide always turns when you're lost in the waves. Now I'm the one sinking. There's no solid ground, and I can't help thinking I'm the one who has drowned. Now knee-deep in the water, I feel my Father's touch. And though fully grown, I've still never known how to love someone that much. Lost in the waves, I am lost in the waves. No one but me and the silent black sea. I am lost in the waves. I am lost in the waves. I am lost in the waves.
Thank you. Sometimes it can feel as if we've seen everything. Do you know that feeling? That even the new stuff you've seen somewhere before, like nothing could surprise you anymore. Have you ever felt that way? Of course, it's just a feeling. We haven't really seen everything. Nobody has. It's hard to argue, though. Sandy, entering your 93rd year. Have you seen everything? Maybe. We're getting close. What you told me this past week on Monday, you ain't seen nothing yet. You did, to me. And I believed you then, and I believe it now. When we're truly watching, when we're truly listening, it's easy to see that there is more to see than can ever be seen. Our life is not enough to truly see it all. There will always be a what's next. Time continues. That is time's only job, is to continue. The sun will continue to rise and set no matter what we do. In this spirit, I ask you, my friends, whether this is your first time here or whether you're a longtime member of the community church. What's next? What's next for you? What's next for us? Asking this question, what's next, is not much of a spiritual discipline, and thinking about the future is not really rocket science. It's not really prophecy either. Asking about what's next is a bit of a not knowing sense of the future, right? It's not quite tenuous. What's next is not always a comforting thought either. Sometimes it's a scary thought. This thinking about the future and asking what's next, myself, sometimes makes me feel invigorated. Sometimes it makes me feel like I hadn't really been doing much before until I asked the question, what's next? Sometimes the question gets me feeling excited, and this feeling of excitement I call the spirit of adventure. What exactly is the spirit of adventure? I would call it more of a non-anxious anticipation. The spirit of adventure doesn't have to be super happy. You don't have to like everything. But the spirit of adventure gets up in the morning. The spirit of adventure asks, you guessed it, what's next? The spirit of adventure says, what am I going to make? What could I make? The spirit of adventure asks, what could I be today? The spirit of adventure still hears tragedy, still remembers pain. The spirit of adventure doesn't ignore hurt and injury, but she acknowledges them and puts them back in her satchel. The spirit of adventure is busy. She has somewhere to be. The spirit of adventure walks, not so much talks. Though if you asked her, I bet she would have a lot to say. What advice might the spirit of adventure offer you? I have a guess. Try everything. Even if we tried, we couldn't do it. We couldn't try everything. There's too much in this world to try. Remember, the world is bigger than we know, even if it feels like we've seen everything. What haven't we tried? What haven't we gotten around to? That's the spirit of adventure talking. So let me ask you again, what's next for you? What will you do next? What shall we try together next? What can the community church be next? Now hold your horses, someone might say to me. I don't know if we say that here. We say that where I'm from, hold your horses. I know we don't really have any horses. But where I'm from, we say hold your horses, meaning wait. What's next isn't always desirable. The next thing might be a bad thing, and in this world, who could blame you for saying so? We are less excited for what's next, because these days, I find good reasons to be nervous or anxious. It is, in fact, true that our world is shrinking, not just because of rising sea levels or the dwindling habitable area of human development. I promise this morning I'm not here to dwell too hard on the bigger problems, but we're in a time of great global upheaval. This is the 6th mass extinction that has befallen planet Earth. We're experiencing it as we speak. What this means is not only are many thousands of species in the process of disappearing, but entire ecosystems, climates, are likely disappearing as well. For our world, what's next is likely going to be smaller, less busy, less active, and maybe less plentiful than what came before. Yet even now, we have just barely scratched the surface, humans, of the great diversity and plenty that existed in our world long before us. Many ecosystems have already been lost to science and memory before ever being observed by people. I find that deeply inspiring, that entire trees in the Amazon had and continue to have self-contained ecosystems. These ecosystems rise and fall without classification and without analysis. Friends, we have not begun to see everything. There is so much more to see than we could see. This is the important part to me. There is more to come than we could even imagine. Our world has changed more in the last 2 years than in my lifetime before that. The world has thrown us a curveball, and it's time to try something new. What can we do about the problems of this world? Well, I'm not sure yet, but we can do something. So, I ask again, what's next? What's next for you? What's next for us? Adventures are messy things, Bilbo Baggins says to Gandalf at the beginning of The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. That make you late for dinner. I agree, adventures are uncomfortable. But let me tell you, if you haven't read The Hobbit, many pages of messy adventures follow that line. Not knowing where you're going next means specifically not being able to prepare for it. And adventures are complicated. But friends, we are on an adventure, whether we like it or not. Any adventure brings varying degrees of danger, and it is true that adventures do not offer safety. There is always a chance on any given adventure that something could get lost along the way. Do you know what I mean about lost along the way? Sometimes it can be hard to try new things, even small adventures, when you remember what's been lost. Adventures are complicated. Those of us who have lost something or someone may be more adverse to starting a new adventure. Knowing the pain of loss means perhaps being unwilling to lose any more. We want to stop the messy uncertainty. It hurts. The spirit of adventure recognizes pain. Early on in my religious education, I was encouraged to explore traditions not my own. I found a particular resource in the writings of India and Hindu thought, and I read parts of the Bhagavad Gita in one of my first classes in seminary. My teacher, Father Paul Knitter, he was a dual-belonging Catholic priest and Buddhist monk, taught from his social location as a Catholic and Buddhist. He encouraged all of us as students to find places of comfort and familiarity, but not to stay there. To know yourself so that you can have the grounding to explore new places and new ideas. Well, I was encouraged. And in that moment, I found the spirit of adventure. I dove into the Bhagavad Gita, which is a story song poem that opens onto a battlefield near the end of an extended struggle. I just want to offer a little summary that opens onto a lengthy struggle and a brief time of war between two sides of the Bharata family, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. The Gita recounts a dialogue in the moments leading up to this big battle between a warrior, Arjuna, and his trusted advisor, Krishna. Krishna turns out to be a worldly incarnation of Vishnu, the Supreme Being. Now, Krishna and Arjuna are struggling in this conversation. Arjuna wants to give up. Krishna encourages Arjuna to fight, even to his death. Here is why. Krishna says, "While you speak words of wisdom, you are mourning for something not worthy of grief. The wise lament not for the living, nor for the dead. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all of these kings. Nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Just as the soul continues to pass from childhood to youth to old age, Similarly, at the time of death, the soul passes into another. The wise are not deluded by this. This contact between the senses and sense objects gives rise to fleeting perceptions of happiness and distress. These are not permanent. These come and go like the winter and summer seasons. O descendant of Bharat, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. If you fight, you will be slain on the battlefield and go to the celestial abodes, or you will be victorious and you will enjoy kingdoms on earth. Therefore, arise with determination and be prepared to fight. Fight for the sake of duty, treating alike happiness and distress, loss and gain, victory and defeat. Fulfill your responsibility in this way, and you will not incur sin. Friends, when I heard this, it was strange to me. It was foreign to my upbringing, and it was foreign in theme from what I was told. Fighting was sinful. To fight did not bring forgiveness to me. I continued reading, and I became aware of two things upon reflection. First, I was not Hindu. This is a different world with different characters and themes. It was a new adventure. It was wholly alien to me and unfamiliar. And yet, I also knew that it sounded true to me, that these words connected to where I had come from and connected to the spirit in my heart that knows that doing is better than sitting and thinking. What are you afraid of? Might be Krishna's enduring message. The worst does not come from the striving, but in the not striving. For us, perhaps, the worst is not to come from an adventure, but from a lack of adventure. Be not afraid, Community Church. It is a time of adventure. What happens next in the text is that Krishna's words are deeply inspiring. The soldiers go off to battle, and poetic descriptions of bravery and glory follow. I encourage you to read it yourself. Krishna does not erase the pain of loss. Krishna acknowledges it and moves on. Loss is a part of our world, but it is not the end of our world. Time, as I said, moves forward. That's its only job. The sun still rises and still sets. What's next, Community Church? What's next for us? Our building down the street, it's not ours anymore. The feeling we might have had, that we might remember or not, of gathering among those whom we loved in a place that we knew, that feeling is not here with us. There is more, however, to come, more than we can imagine. What's next, Community Church? It is now December. The slow crumble of our world feels to me heavy and large. The reasons to be grateful are there. The reasons to be joyful are there. In this city, diversity offers rich and varied expressions of human culture that seem limitless. This is my New York. This is what's next for us, Community Church. In our world, people seem determined to be loud in their power, changing the world through the pain and death of others. I know that these events in our country make me feel nervous sometimes and make me feel afraid of the adventures that we are coming with. This new world is ripe for an adventure. I want to leave you with one image, an image from the animated motion picture Up from 2009. This movie is a rollicking fantasy. It doesn't really make sense, but cartoons don't have to. In the beginning, two school-aged children, Ellie and Carl, crowd themselves over a handmade treasure book, complete with drawings and library book clippings that explain the far-off world of Paradise Falls. Only, Ellie says, I'm not too sure how I'm going to get to Paradise Falls. She ponders like this for a moment, and then like a shot of lightning, she exclaims, "That's it," and turns to the other kid. "You can take us there in a blimp." "Swear you'll take us there. Swear it." Carl, nervous, crosses his heart and promises, even though he has no blimp. Ellie's logic, like the logic of a child, solves the problem by imagining a blimp. The problem is now solved. Isn't this also, in some ways, the way of adventures? Before they start, they're so much easier to imagine. Well, Ellie and Carl's adventure does continue to Paradise Falls, but it doesn't begin until many, many years later, after Ellie has passed away and Carl is well into his twilight years. Carl no longer climbs the stairs in his home unassisted, yet still finds a way to bring them on the adventure. Carl carries himself, along with Ellie's ashes, to Paradise Falls, as promised. It doesn't look like they expected, and they don't ride a blimp. But adventure is out there, the slogan goes, repeated throughout the movie. And by the end, Carl is repeating it as if he believes it. Adventure is out there. Well, real-life adventures are not quite as simple as they are in the movies, but this movie to me holds a unique power. It offers a simple explanation of a complex reality. Adventure, whether we like it or not, is out there for us. It's out there for you, it's out there for me, and adventure is gonna be messy. It might make us late for dinner. Adventure is unpredictable. We can run from it and try our best to control it, but we can't. Adventure will continue, just like time. Time's job, after all, is just to continue. The sun will keep rising and will keep setting. So, what's next? Amen. Please join us as we sing hymn number 1017 in your teal book.
Hey. freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these the world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
Thank you, thank you. You may be seated. Life at Community Church is busy, whether we are online or in person. It is our hope that wherever you are and in whatever way you are comfortable engaging in the mission and ministry of this church, that we have provided opportunities for you. On Mondays, I lead a check-in at 7 p.m. where we ground ourselves in practices for spiritual and mental health. Every Tuesday, we have a session for breathing meditation online with Nafisa at 5:30 in our main room. Please feel free to join. Our anti-racism action group also leads a gathering on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Mark your calendar. On Monday, December 5th, we are co-sponsoring a large event to fight global violence. Members of Black Lives Matter and from the United Nations High Commission on Human Rights will be here, and it starts at 1 o'clock. We're hoping you'll join us. We are a 7-day church and have programs running every day of the week. You can find more information in the program and on our website. Our ushers are going to pass a plate forward for our collection. If you're new here, please let the plate go by you with no pressure to give. We are glad for your presence. All gifts offered are accepted in gratitude. I need help. It's time to extinguish the chalice. Is someone able and willing to come help me to extinguish the chalice? Lisa, thank you. Yes, while I speak. Thank you. Yes. Please join me in reciting the words for our chalice extinguishing. Knowing how quickly the flame of truth may be extinguished, how easily the chalice of fellowship broken, let us be vigilant in faith, keep peace in our hearts, and make care for one another the watchword of our lives together. So our light goes out everywhere into the world. So now we go, filled from our toes to our hearts with love and strengthened throughout for the adventure to come. May today and every day be another fresh start, another first day of your great, messy adventure. Go in peace to love and be kind to one another.